Blue Storm Mystic coming in with my boy over here. I'm going to be doing a deck profile on my new Prism stuff.
Sushi.
Shush. Just because you deep fry them with Kagero doesn't mean anything. Yeah, so I'm going to come at you. I've been playing Prisms for a long time now, and new stuff came out. Pretty excited about it. Still working out on how the combos work out, but it's doing pretty good, so I decided to do a check profile on it. So let's get on it. I know the new starter Sapphire came out, but I still prefer my Tesia, for those that don't know what she does. Whenever she boosts an attack that hits, and she's boosting a Prism, you can just automatically return her to your hand. I think it's pretty awesome, because it's first turn play, good early hand advantage, which will be key for later in the match with Prisms. I still like her over Sapphire. I don't know what you guys think. But getting to grade 3s, I run 4 Prism Image Verts. She is essentially, or has always been essential for Prisms as a whole. She's the break ride, and what happens is limit break 4 when you break ride over her. You get to bounce any 2 Bermudas and draw a card. She plays into a combo later that I'll get into, but she is very much needed for the deck on how it runs.
She's adorable.
She is very cute, too. I think she also came out with like a wedding card. Maybe that was her stride. But going back a little bit, I run 3 Prism Promise Labradors. She was the old ace and is still kind of the ace of the deck. What she does is at limit break 4, when you attack with her, you get to call 3 Bermudas, or 3 Prisms from your hand. If you do that, she gets 10,000 in a crit, making her a pretty awesome boss. She also bounces all the Prisms back to your hand by counterblasting a Prism, so she's very consistent, and with all the cards, just makes the deck much more consistent. A new face in the world of Prisms, Garnet. She's newer, and her ability is Limit Break 4. Whenever she attacks, you get to drop 3 Prisms from your hand, and if you successfully do that, she gets Ultimate Break at Limit Break 5, and she gets an extra drive check of doing that. So she also ties in as an option for Vert in the later combo I'll be explaining. So really, these two are like utilistic. You can either use her for a finisher or use her to catch up. Either one works. Pretty great altogether.
So 10 grade 3s?
I have 9 grade 3s.
9.
Oh, her other ability is if a Prism's bounced, you can counterblast a Prism and give anything 5,000. So she's a nice field amp as well. Getting into grade 2s, I run 4 of the beautiful Princess Celtic. Good reason as to. Vanguard or Rearguard Circle, doesn't matter where she's at. You can counterblast a Prism, to bounce a Prism, to draw a card. Anybody that plays Vanguard knows how well of tempo that is and how much it supports the Bermuda mechanic, so I think she's just excellent all around, and she's shiny, so that's always a plus.
Shiny and adorable.
Mm-hmm. I run 3 of a new face for Prism, which is the Prism Image Sunshine Rosa. There was a card that I don't have in my deck, but used to, Yarmuk, which got 3,000 power for each Bermuda bounced. She's a little different, and I think she's better. You can Soul Blast 1 if you have a Vanguard with Limit Break in its effect. You get to not only give her 3,000, but you get to give another thing 3,000. So that's pretty awesome. She's a nice field amp. On top of Garnet, those two together can get some pretty nice numbers. 2 10Ks. Pretty self-explanatory. Vanilla's strong. Good for the second ride.
Disgusting who uses those. Just kidding. That's a really good idea, actually.
I also run 2 of the 12K swingers for Prism. Again, still kind of working with the deck, seeing how it all runs, but if you can get some extra free power for just attacking, why not?
Free is free.
Exactly. Take advantage of it. I mean, Rose is basically free.
And we like things that are free on this channel.
Alright. Rocking the 2 colors, my 4 Perfect Guards, Araya. Pretty self-explanatory by this point. I also run 4 of my darling right here, my little waifu, Princess Liette. She is amazing all around. There's not a base she doesn't cover. Whenever you bounce her, if you have a Prism Vanguard, you get to unflip 1, soul charge 1, and give 4,000 power to anything you want, which is incredible. There's only one downside, you can't normal call her, but that's kind of gotten around with either Labrador or Garnet because they superior call, so really that's not that big of a problem or issue. You just lay 3 of her down and you're all good. We also run 3 Prism image clears. She is one of the older faces for Prism, but I still think she's awesome. Whenever she's bounced, you Soul Blast 1 and give 4,000 to any Bermuda. She's not Prism specific, and I've seen her run in plenty of other Bermuda builds. She's just an overall great card. So that's why I put her in this deck, the extra power and amp. I do run 2 of a brand new Prism Emerald. She's apparently supposed to be the key to all these new combos that are coming in. I'm trying to work her out and feel how she is, because Clear might actually get replaced by her at some point. But what she does is whenever she's returned to your hand during the battle phase, which a lot of the strides can do by this point, you get to pick 2 more prisms and return them to your hand, and then anything you want gets +5. Which, when she's bounced and 2 more are bounced, it kind of fuels into that 3 prisms need to be dropped for Labrador, Garnet, or really whatever, especially the Sunshine Vert, which I know I've been talking about this combo. We will get to it, trust me. But, yeah, she's great. Just trying to figure out how she all ties in with it.
Really utilistic for the deck, so.
Very much so. Generates hand advantage.
Something that Prism's had a problem with for a little while, so.
Basic trigger lineup. Not getting too fancy. Just 4 heals.
So why do you run heals?
What do you mean, why do I run heals? It's to make sure I can stay alive against you.
Oh.
So, 4 heals, 4 draws, 8 crits. One of my crits does actually have an ability. They're all Prism, which is nice, because before we didn't have, like, complete sets unless you ran Rainbow, but stand triggers in this deck aren't needed, especially with all the bounce mechanic. Nonetheless, whenever this card is returned back to your hand, you get to Counterblast 1. You get to choose a version of her in your hand, so you need 1 in the hand and 1 in the field. You take the 1 in your hand and put it back in the deck. And she's the utilistic part of the deck. She's what's going to search out what's important, because she'll search out any card that has Vert, Rosa, or Clear in its name. I don't believe you can search her out, but you can search out the other Clear, you can search out your Break Ride, you can search out Rosa, basically your amp card. Very nice. Keeps the deck moving along.
Have you ever considered running 12 crit, like for the off chance you might deck out from all the bouncing and drawing?
I did actually at a time run 12 crit. It was nice, not gonna lie, just very aggressive. The problem was though that when I started to run out of hand advantage, especially with me dropping 3 prisms, even though I was drawing a bunch, it wasn't consistent enough to keep up with the hand, I felt. So that's why I've switched to a more crit aggressive style. I mean, more draw, yeah, you know what I meant. More draws in the deck.
Like a more defensive, but still have some aggression.
Right, so I'm going back to the standard 8 crit, 4 draw, 4 heal. So I think the draws are at least needed. I'm okay with running 2 draw, 10 crit. I think my favorite would be 9 crit, 3 draw. I think that's perfect, but I'm seeing how this one works, especially with all the new combos, which I'm going to get into now. So for my grade 4s, I run 4. Princess Labrador. Wonderful card. What she does is, for free, you basically just flip a version of her face up, so you get that Gen Break 2 in pretty easily. You pick any 2 of your prisms, if you have a Prism Heart, and they get plus 5,000 power, so nice field amp, but they also get the ability, if they attack or boost, so if you use them in a turn, they go back to your hand after the battle. So, very helpful, and that ties into Emerald a little bit, if I can find her. With her returning and everything, gaining, like, playing your hand and then just getting it back anyway, so it's good for attacking, and it's a good counter against some clans that like to retire a lot.
I'm smiling on the other end of this camera.
My next cards. So this is the combo I want to talk about, Sunshine Vert. Her ability, she has Limit Break as a stride, so make sure you're at 4 damage, it's very important in this deck. When she is done attacking, you flip a version of her face up in the G-Zone. You also discard 3 prisms from your hand. And when you do this, if you have a Prism Heart, it doesn't have to be a Vert Heart, just any prism. You get to take her off G-Circle, like the Nightmare Doll one, bounce 2 prisms back to your hand, and then take a grade 3 prism from your hand and ride it. So what's going to basically happen is, when you attack with her, you'll take any 2 prisms back with her. And if Vert, which is why she's very important, is there, you will ride either Garnet or Labrador over her, activating Vert's Break Ride ability, bouncing more cards, and having everything in your hand to use for either of these. And that's why Emerald and all the amp cards are very important, so you can just stack more into your Vanguard or any rear guard that's left over.
All those free pluses, though.
Exactly. And then you just swing in with a crit with Labrador or an extra drive check with Garnet, depending on what kind of damage threshold you're at. So.
And she's one of those break rides that didn't have a counterblast cost either, right?
No, she doesn't. You just do it. It's nice and free. So this deck doesn't use a whole bunch of counterblasts until you're sitting on Garnet or Labrador more. There's a little bit in between, but Lyat should just be able to cover you because of the unflip, which is nice, and fuels the Soul Blasting for Rosa. It's a very fuel-efficient deck. The other Stride I run is Nectaria. She's pretty cool. She's a Prism Duo Stride, so she works with either Prisms or Duo. But her Prism effect on hit is if you bounce a Bermuda, if it has Prism in its name, you get to call a new Prism down with +5. So, again, Strides will bounce them during the battle phase. You use Emerald, you get to fuel, more power, which, as I'm talking, I feel like I should just start putting in more Emeralds now because I keep talking about her. But, you know, there's also Clear and Lyat if you need some unflip. She's basically free as well. She's your basic on-hitter. The Duo effect, which don't matter for the deck, but if I'm talking about her, she's still pretty awesome. You bounce a Duo, you add the same Duo. Very, very common in the deck. So she's just overall a great Stride. I only have one of this beauty right here.
She's like $100+.
Basically. The Celebrate Voice Loris. She doesn't need a Loris hard or anything specific, so you can really use her anywhere, but if you're at Gem Break 2, you get to Counterblast 1 and flip any G unit face up, so it's really nice. Even if I just have one of her, she still works. You bounce as many Bermudas as you want back to your hand, equal to the amount of G units that are face up, so you can bounce your entire field. And then when she attacks, you get to give +5 to each of your rear guards, or at least 3 rear guards, and she gets a crit. Very nice and very powerful. So she's great. If you can't finish her off with like Labrador or Sunshine Vert, which should be your finishing combo, then you could probably rely on her. I run 2 of the basic on hitters. Somnus. She bounce, play on hit. Pretty simple to just keep that flow of attacks going. And then she gives a +3, I believe, to the new call unit.
It's a nice generic Stride, gets the job done.
Oh yeah. Speaking about just constant hand advantage, Amoris, I only run one of her. She's going to be mainly the thing that I flip over, but it's okay.
It's nice to have.
Very much so. She's an extra option. Basically, when she enters Vanguard, you bounce 2. It's basically like another Vert Break Ride, is how I view it. Especially if you Break Ride with her and then just Stride, and yeah, a lot of power.
Nothing wrong with a break ride Stride.
No. And that's what Nubatama's for. 2 of the hand-in-hand Leola. Now, I'm still getting used to these G Guardians, but they're awesome. Just drop a heal, and when she enters Guardian Circle, not Vanguard Circle, you bounce any of your rears. And then you get to call a new rear to the Guardian Circle. If it has the same name that you bounced, like if you bounce the same card and play it, the card gets 5,000, not her. So she's a little different from the other G Guardians that give extra shield. She gives the other card it. So you could technically bounce a grade 3 and then guard with that grade 3. Or, you know, make one of your grade 0s that may have been on the field much more defensive and give a 30k shield.
Yeah,
so
it's like one of those, like, those G guards give like the special effects, kind of like the Cosmic Hero one that gives your Vanguard +4 just when it's guarding.
Right, that kind of thing. And then the last 2 Strides are the Sailor's Melody Nasha. She's very easy to use. When you guard with her, you get to select one of your rear guards, and if you can reveal a card in your hand that has the same grade as, actually just a unit, doesn't have to be a rear, you could use your van. So if you have the same grade as something on your field in your hand, then she just gets extra shield. So that's pretty awesome. I haven't found a time where I haven't given her extra shield. So with the hand advantage you provide with a Prism deck or any sort of Bermuda deck, shouldn't be a problem. But yeah, I think I've basically wrapped up everything when it comes to the deck. Do you think I left anything out?
I don't think you covered everything. Actually, do you think that Prisms is where it was back when it first came out now, or do you think it still has a little bit ways to go? Because I know you've been playing them for a while. So
Yeah, I played them when they first came out. When they first came out, they were amazing. And not to say that they're not now. There's just a lot more aspects to the game, so it's not to say that Prisms are invalid. Their new Sunshine Vert strategy and all their strides, since they're now moving into like a limit break stride kind of deck, I think that's awesome. That's what's going to give them their real edge. They're aggressive and defensive all in the same manner, just more on the aggressive side. So I don't really see much of a weakness to them. They're constantly in the hand. I think they're awesome.
I mean, would you take them to like a regional event? Would you or anything? Or
Absolutely. I've got like 3 decks that I'm playing around with to take them to regionals, which would be Prisms, Neo Nectar, which is Asha build, and a new Batama deck. Love them all. So that's where I stand. They're incredible. I love them. Always have. Always will. Not giving them up. And that's how I feel on them, especially with the new stuff. So, boom.
all right, well, there you have it, guys. BS's
Hey, we talked about that. Blue
Storm Mystics Prism deck. Hope you guys liked it. Be sure to rate, comment, subscribe, and let us know if you see anything you guys would change or any ideas you might want to throw at us. So we'll catch you guys on the next video. Bye.
See ya.